All right, good. So, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, please.
Yes, you can.
Right. So, can anyone just try to tell us about what we did last week, and just a brief summary about what we've been able to do last week, and if it's even more than last week, right? So we can just talk about it generally. So, please, happy for anyone. So, guys, I want us to talk. So, can anyone just try to explain to us what we did last week? What we've been doing,
Okay.
what we've been trying to do. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Um, I'm doing that. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Gringa.
Okay, so uh, last week we talked about what is it called virtual networks, and we also talked about the various pairing using the bank as an example, and how we prepare from the branch to the bank. We talked about the virtual machine. I think that's in brief. We also discussed about the CAPEX and the OPEX as well. And we did some pairing between the branches and the head office as well. And we also talked about some of the resource management. Yeah, just in brief. I think those are some of the things we actually discussed.
Okay, thank you very much, Benny. Any other person? Right, any other person wants to go ahead? Is Gospel on this call?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Yeah. Good evening. So after Gospel, Alim to say something.
Okay. Last week we talked about the virtual network where I think we used a bank app system or a bank structure as an example where we created virtual networks and try linking each branch to the head office, each branch to the head office, and then we like Benga said, we talked about we saw how the connections were done, how you can link, how they share resources, the branch sending information to the head office and the head office sending back information to the branch, and other branches can tap in from the information sent to the head office from other branches. And we also looked at capital expenditure and operational expenditure for organizations for on-premise servers. So if you have a server in your premises, you have to first of all capital expenditure, you have to that is the money you spend in getting all those infrastructures like the server, the computers, getting people to set them up. Then operational expenditure is the money you spend for the day-to-day running of the server, the on-premise server. So this is the little I can say. I don't know if anyone can just pick up from there. Thank you.
How about this guy that is on the screen? All right, so thank you very much, Gospel. Alim, what about you?
Okay, the one on the screen. So this is like creating a management group, and you have different subscription. So
Okay.
under the different subscription, we have different resource group. So in
Okay.
the resource group, we can decide what we want to put in each resource group, and we can also connect them via virtual network. I'm not sure that's correct.
It is.
Okay.
All right, so what's the essence of having resource group exactly?
So The essence of having resource group is to arrange your resources and know which resources are in different resource group.
Okay, just about organizing, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, good. Okay, so one of we talked about pairing. Can any other person talk about pairing? And what are the things you notice? What are the things you were expecting? And what are the things you could say about VNet pairing, right? Is I would say VNet pairing is just something as you connecting from, like I explained the other day, like you connecting from one branch of your office to another branch of your office so they can connect internally, right? Because you don't want to expose it over the internet, right? The essence of, I'm already explaining my question. All right, so can anyone talk about VNet pairing? Who is this person? Sheyo Yekon, please go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Good evening, everyone. I don't know if I'm right, but then I just have to
No,
say
no, no,
it.
no. See, one thing is there's no stupid answer or stupid question. You can say anything, we correct ourselves, and we'll learn. Do you understand?
Yes. Okay, so I remember you mentioned that we have different types of, I think, network topology where you have the ring, the star, and the rest of them. So for the VNet, I feel that, or I understand that is, I think the reason why we create networks is because we don't want information um, leakage, like external bodies tapping into the like we use the bank
Sorry,
system.
who is talking?
Okay, this is
God's
gospel,
power.
sir.
Are you sure you come?
No, I'm gospel.
Okay, I actually mentioned Sheyo Yekon. Please continue, please.
Okay, so I think the essence of VNet pairing is so that there wouldn't be information leakage. People don't tap into the network of the bank like we used the other time and steal their information. So that is why we have information gets to the branch where I think there's so much security. This is what I just understand. So I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but
All right.
so where there's so much security and then the branch, the head office finds a way to, through a secured system or a secured route, sends it back to the branches that need such information.
All
I
right.
don't know if
Thank
that
you very
answers your
much.
question, but
Yeah, sure. That's also makes sense connection of two or more Agile virtual network. Okay. Good. Adelowale, I saw your response. Um, Olutosin Adeyemo. Yes, please. Can you say anything about what we've talked about generally? It might not be this or what I think you were in the first class there about or the second class. So about the VNet pairing or anything. Before we start today.
Yeah, yeah, the VNet pairing. I can remember you mentioned something about it. We mentioned about the topologies, the ring topologies, and the last class also we mentioned about giving privileges for other um people on the network. Let's put it that way to be able to. Let's take for instance, there's somebody in Ikeja, there's somebody in the UK, and you don't want the people in the UK to share the same network, the same resources with
Okay.
with people in Ikeja. So there's a way
All
you
right.
could actually prevent that, and certain people will have access to certain information.
Okay. Okay. I think you're talking about management group on
Yeah, man.
having a different resource, different subscription, right? And also different resource group.
Yes,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so okay, before we go to Israel, before we go to what we have for today, or basically, okay, fine. We've talked about networking as an example of infrastructure as a service, right? Another one of the another tools we'll be talking about is virtual machine, right? And we'll be talking about different aspects of virtual machine, right? But we'll take it one bit at a time. Very good. So now that Mr. Olutosin, right, mentioned access, right? I want us to talk about that access in full before we actually go dive into this thing we call the resources itself, right? So let's start with access, then we'll go to virtual machine. Start with access for the first 1 hour thereabout. It's already 6:28. So in the next 30 minutes, and the next 1 hour would also use to talk about virtual machine, right? So there's something we call one of the first steps in cloud environment. One thing about cloud environment that anybody will tell you is that you are in charge of your own security, right? The cloud provider will do a little bit, right? But in terms of access, you that you're subscribing for the cloud environment, you are in charge of your own security. If there's any breach, the Microsoft can only, Amazon can only help you with audit in terms of, oh, who did this, who did it. They are not responsible for the action that is carried out on your cloud environment. So I want us to notice that. That is why people or most companies, they give, before they can give you access to the cloud environment, you need to have a senior level permission. Or if they even want to have give you an access to an environment, they will give you like a viewer or a reader, somebody that can just view or connect to that resources. But you won't be able to carry out a management operation. I'll still talk about what I mean by management operation, right? But security in the cloud environment is very key, and you're responsible for it. Do you understand? All right. So one of the ways at which you measure your security, or you enable security, is by giving people access as little as they can. Do you understand? All right, let me give you an example. You know, the first level of any cloud environment okay, because we're using Microsoft, don't let me say cloud environment, is your subscription in Microsoft. In AWS, is your billing profile or your account, right? We call it account. But in what's it called? Microsoft, we call it a subscription, because a subscription will determine where what you are deploying, where they are going to be removing the money from, right? So we have pay as you go, and we have where you majorly the cloud provider is always pay as you go, except the one that some of the guys that have worked with Microsoft, they gave us, where they give us $150 every month, right? Like the one I have. Okay, sorry, this is micro subscription here. So like the one I have two, one for my MCT and one for being an engineer with Microsoft before, right? The first one is the one that has to do with having to be an engineer with Microsoft, and the second one is the one that has to do with being an MCT, right? MCT is a certified Microsoft trainer, a Microsoft certified trainer. Do you understand? So now look at this. I am the account admin. It is because this is my home. But when you set up a cloud environment, the person that registered is automatically the account admin. Do you understand? It is that person that can manage the management group, right? Except you give any other person a high level permission the way you are, right? But account admin, only one person that has access to that, right? So subscription, the first level of your old cloud environment is just after the management group is your subscription. We have a resources, right? We have a resources called is it Blueprint? I think it's Blueprint. it can set policy based on management group. But people don't actually, it's big company. When I mean big company, I mean big company like PwC, Everlink. Everlink is not a Nigerian company, right? That would set a policy, a security measures from their management group. No, most companies set the security from their subscription because that's their point of entry into a cloud environment. So now I'm going to be working with this subscription. The first subscription is the same thing, so I can choose anyone. All right, so I think this is what I'm supposed to start with. Apart from virtual machines and all, you need to understand this also, right? So for each resources, I always has these options here, right? Always have this option. This option is called Blade. The resource, I'm clicking on subscription. You call it the subscription blade. That means the left hand side. The left hand side is just a minute, please. I have a message. Yes, please. All right. So because I'm clicking on subscription, right? This part here is called subscription bleed, right? But you can call it the tab, you can call it anything, but because it was Microsoft guy that trained us, they call it subscription bleed, right? So this is where you manage every of anything that has to do with subscription, anything that has to do with your whole environment. You see, the first thing that came out is the amount that I have spent, the amount that I have remaining. Okay. That I have remaining in this month. Which month is this? August, right? August to September, 14th. We're already okay. Today is 10th. All right. So I have $50 left out of the 150 that they give us every month. Do you get? So now, this is where you see a lot of things. You see a lot of this is your subscription ID. This is very, very important, right? You don't expose your subscription ID anyhow. Do you understand? Your subscription ID is very, very key. Anybody that has access to your subscription ID and a little permission can do anything in your subscription, can deploy anything, can be able to access your environment. Do you understand? Right. So this is the directory. This is my email and my Microsoft sub mail. Right. Role account admin, offer MSDN. That's the stuff that I told you about. Parent management group. This is the root management group, and this is the ID. Right. What's the subscription name? This is it. Right. Current billing cycle. That means the day I started using it till the day the subscription end, right? But if you're using pay as you go, you might not need this, right? You don't need it. Currency USD, that one is okay. Status active, secure score is not available. All right, so here you see the spending rates and forecast, right? So the reason why I'm explaining all this is that one of the one of the one of the things that you'll be asked in interviews or as a cloud engineer, cloud computing engineer, cloud engineering, or as a DevOps engineer that the company um, is using a cloud environment, either Azure, AWS, GCP, is they will tell you, have you ever done anything that minimize costs in your company, right? One of the major thing that is always important to company is, can you minimize cost for us? Do you get? So they will ask you, can you minimize cost? Have you been able to do that? Right? So these are the things that are very, very key in managing subscription or environment. And that is what we have here, right? Right, just a minute, please. All right, so what I'm trying to say is one of the things they will ask you is, can you manage their subscription, right? Because I remember somebody here. The first thing when he joined a company, he was working as a consultant for a company. The first week he resumed, one of the things that they told him is that can he help them reduce um the amount that they are spending every month, right? Let me give you an example. I was on a contract with a company about last year to this year March, and the company has not gone live. They are still in development phase. They are still in development phase. It has not even gone to sandbox development phase, and they are spending about $3,000 every month. And it has been going like that for a long period of time, even because before I came into the company as a contractor, right? So, and one of the first things they told me to do also is, okay, set up their pipeline, manage their pipeline, their whole infrastructure, and also help us reduce costs, right? So now, if you have that kind of thing, how will you do it? This is where you do it, right? You see every resources that are consuming costs, that are doing everything. I will still get there. This is just giving you a display of the cost of the resources, the graph here, starting credits, credits remaining 50 and forecasted, right? And we also have top products by number of resources. You see that network watcher, that's number. Anytime you deploy any virtual machine, you always have a network watcher, right? Sometimes you can disable it that it should not create because nobody uses it. I don't know, but networking guys use it, right? I don't know. So extensions, what's this extension? Okay, schedule query. This one is just me where doing a repo at some point where I use Terraform to create an alert. This is virtual network, 4 virtual networks, 4 public IPs, 4 DNS zones. Like that's a domain name, right? So we have like that. So you manage everything in this page, right? Do you understand? So I'm not going to explain it because I still have this blade here to explain each one of these diagram or this card that we have here, right? So the next thing we want to talk about now is the activity log. Every resources in Azure has activity log, right? Let me give it to you. So does anybody have question with regards to the overview before I go to activity log? All right, no question. All right, thank you very much. All right, so what happened in the activity log is, let's assume somebody deleted something in your environment, right? And an app service. Okay, let me give you an example. When we were still working with Microsoft, somebody called on December 25th. Some of us were working then. Somebody called on December 25th that they just deleted their application, right? They deleted the application, and the person that deployed is the let's say their system administrator or a cloud administrator in the company, and he mistakenly deleted it. So, and they were saying they are looking for somebody to hold. Would you believe that this guy was claiming that it was Microsoft that deleted it? But when he called Microsoft and we attended to it, he was begging us that he was the one that deleted it, that we should look for a way to help him. Do you get? So what am I saying in essence? Anybody can make a mistake, right? But at this point, how do we know who deleted it? How do we know who is taking action in that regards, right? How do we know everything that is going on in the regards? You know, I was talking to you about audits the other time, right? That if anything happens, Microsoft can only provide you audit, and this is where they will start from. Let's check the activity log. Who is carrying action, right? You see that there are several actions. Even Microsoft action themselves, they will log it. You see health events updated. This one's that Microsoft, you see that there's nobody that initiated it. But today, around 12 o'clock, we had a pre-meeting about this meeting where I was explaining what we did for the past 2 weeks, right? And I also created a virtual machine. Look at it. I validated deployment, and it showed my name here and my email. Did you see that? It showed it here, but every other thing was just event, right? And this is because it is showing for 6 hours. You can change the date, you can make it custom and the likes. But one thing is, in all cloud environments, a log can only be kept for 90 days, which is 3 months, right? So we only have 90 days to do that. So you can't go more than 90 days. You won't be able to see that, right? So you can do custom and set it for 3 months, which is 90 days, right? To see the actions that has been carried out in this subscription, right? Like, excuse me, like I said the other time too, that every resources also has activity log. Do you understand? So let me just show you. Are you guys following, Sha? Or you guys just stop?
Yes, we're following.
Definitely, sir.
Yes, we're following.
All right, so you see that virtual network has activity logs. It shows you everything that is going on with this virtual network and everything that anybody did. If you change anything, it's going to tell you that somebody changed this thing, and it's going to put your name there, right? So we also have, let me see, based on resource group too, right? I can click on any resource group. This was the one we created today, right? And you see, we have activity log. You can see, right, that I was the one that created it, created a resource group, validate deployment, and created virtual network inside it. And if you check it, we have one virtual network. Did you see? So it's going to rat you out. It's a snitch, right? So okay. So that's just it about activity logs, right? Now the main thing about the security. Okay, I see. Goke. Hello, Goke. Okay, I guess he's still in church. I'll tell him to change the time in for the meeting to 6 p.m. to from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. back. All right, so the access control, and this is where you said the what's it called? The security too. All right, so sorry about that. My wife was messaging me. All right, so all right, so this is where you set access for in your environment, right? And you see this option, check access. If you want to check somebody access, let me see. I think I added Sheyi Ewuji as Ewuji. What is this? Select. Okay, so classic. Okay, check. So sorry, this is check my access. You see service administrator. I have full access to this subscription, right? You see check access. You can check anyone's access, right? You can search by the name. Let me see if I have a Wuji here. Nobody. Jamil. So you see his access. You see the kind of access that he has, right? So what kind of access does he have? Have I removed it? Assignment versus video. I don't know. Okay. So you see the access that he has. Let me see. I think just Toyin is still here. So yes. Oh, sorry, Toyin. All right. So I'll still check. There's another way for us to check it, Sha. All right. So this is where you add role assignments. So if I want to, Alim, send me your email.
Okay.
Oh, I think I've already given you access now.
Because I still can't see the screen. Well, let me try and log out and log in. Maybe if I will be able to see.
Is that?
That's
Okay,
Samuel. This is Samuel.
Okay. All right, so I'm trying to give somebody access, right? And so now this is where you decide the kind of access you want to give somebody. Let me go back a bit, right? So this is where you want to assign, add role assignment, add co-administrator, add a custom role. I would not go to custom role right now because I wanted to say it's way above your pay grade, but no, it is not. But you don't need it right now. You just need to work with these assets, get to know about those assets. Pay me, I don't tell you say make you send in your email. All right, so see this. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So you click on add role assignment, right? And you look for the kind of access that you want the person. If you want the person to be able to access only any things that has to do with AI, virtual machines, machine language, you choose any of these, right? If you want any builder, if you want it to just be APIM, I don't know, maybe you guys know what APIM is, but I don't know. But if you want it to be based on resources, if you want it to be only network, the person should only be able to manage network. I think there's network administrator here. Like here, yeah. You see? So there's network administrator, network contributor, right? We have them. If it's only virtual network, virtual machine, you have them, right? So you can tell them, okay, let you manage classic virtual machine, but not access to them. If you give you the description of the kind of access you're giving them, and not to the virtual network or storage account they are connected to. So it's only the virtual machine, right? So it gives you access to, what's it called? When did I create this one? Okay, let's just leave this one. All right, so it gives you the kind of access you want for that person, right? But for now, so if you want to give the person minimum access to every of your resources, but just minimum access, you can give the person reader access. You can give the person reader access. Yes. So these three ones are the general ones, right? These three: owner, contributor, reader, they will access every of your environment, but it depends on the access. If it's reader, they will only view resources, but does not allow you to make any changes. If it's contributor, it grants you full access to all resources. I'm coming. Okay, it grants you access to all resources, but not allow you to access rollback. What they mean by Azure rollback is this guy. I've already talked about it, but I just want to show you. This access control, AIM, right? It is what we call Azure RBAC, role-based access control, right? So, and that is what we are currently working on, right? You see role-based access control here, right? That's where we want to set a user or add a user, right? So I'm going to give Alim contributor role, right? You leave this one that it is assign access to user group principal, right? Select, you now click on select member. Select member is very important, right? So let me see. I think Alim is already there. Okay, he's not there. Okay, so it's going to add Alim. Now, once you add and you see his name will populate here, right? You see user type, right? And you click on next. Review and assign. So one thing that is going to do is going to give Alim access to this subscription, right? And it's going to add Alim to my Active Directory. right? So now let's go to my Active Directory. Active Directory. I just hope all these things that I'm saying are not information overload, though. So I'm trying to watch what I'm saying. All right, so this is where's Alim? You see, this is Alim here, right? So this is Alim here. He has added Alim to my what's it called? To my Active Directory, and also gave Alim permission on this subscription, right? So that's how to add role. And this is where you see role assignments, right? The people that you've given access to, right? These are just service principal. I don't want to talk about service principal, but one day that I will mention it, remember that I talked about service principal. And you see that Alim is now here, right? You see my name, and this is also a service principal, right? So what else again? What else? Roles. These are the roles that I was talking to you about, the kind of roles that you have. You can go through it at any time. These are people that this tab is for deny access. You don't need that. Classic administrator. I've not worked with this before, but there's classic, there is the Azure RM administrator, but we don't need that right now, right? So this is where you set access. This is where you give people access to your environment, and this is where you allow people to be added to your Active Directory also, right? We've talked about this tags. You don't need this, right? We've not talked about diagnosis and solve, right? You might not really need it right now. But one of the things that diagnosis and solve does for you is it helps you troubleshoot an issue in your environment, in that resources that you're working on, right? So this guy now, overview, activity logs, access, tags, diagnosis and solve, security and event. Every resources has it, right? Let's first go to resource group. You see, resource visualizer, you don't need that one. So every resource group, I mean, every resource has its overview, activity log, access, tags, events, right? If I click on virtual network 2, it's going to have its own, you see, but there's no security here. You only have diagnosis and solve, tags, access, activity logs, view, right? So what it does, it helps you troubleshoot what is happening in that resources, only that resources, right? So that's why each resources has their own. Do you guys understand? So security, I don't think we need this right now. All right, so event, we don't also need anything that has to do with event right now. So I won't explain that. But when the time comes, because if I start explaining this, these are very much information overload, and I won't I don't want that, right? So now cost analysis. This is where you view what resources is chopping money or is taking up your most of your company's resources in monetary resources or US dollars, right? And Jeremy, go and open the gates. All right, so sorry about that. So this is where you see a bigger view gates. This is where you see a bigger view of what you saw. Let me see subscription. Let me go back to subscription. So this is just a bigger view of what you saw here. Cost analysis here, right? This is just a bigger view. All right. So before, oh my God. All right, so before I move further, can you guys can anybody just talk about what I've been able to explain so far? Um, and or ask question before I go into the other part of it.
Okay, let me try. Good evening, everyone. So today you started by talking about how we can reduce costs when using the Azure environment. So you took us to where we are currently, where we can see the overview. Then you explained.
This is not the overview. This is the overview.
Okay, yes. Okay, so this is the overview here where we can see what we are spending and the estimates and the whatever is taking the cost that is taking most of the money we have in our accounts in the Azure account. So then you talked about the logs, the activity logs, where everything you do on the Azure environment is being captured. So if there's any mistake, your name or your email address will be tied to that mistake, or whatever you do on the Azure environment, there's a log that captures that you're the one that has done that, and it stays up for like 90 days, then it will be wiped out. Then we have the access control where you can add someone to a particular, where you can add someone to your Azure environment and assign and give them a particular privilege, just like as an admin, you can add someone and then give them a particular privilege, like they'll be able to see this, they'll be able to see that, they'll be able to make adjustments to this, they'll be able to do this. And then you also from this place too, you can also give them like a role, like what are they going to be doing, like the administrator, are they going to be the admin, or they're going to be the network administrator, are they going to be the virtual machine caretaker, or depending on what I think everything is listed here. So this is where you just assign the rules, add them and assign the rules to them. Then you talked about the tags where you say we don't need them. I think when we were creating the virtual machine, we saw
We
that.
talked about them, yeah.
Yes, we talked about the tags. Yes, when we were creating virtual machines. Then we talked about diagnose and solve problems. So here the Azure environment helps you to solve some problems. Just like when you're using a computer, there's some problems that.
So, all right, thank you very much,
All right, thank you, sir.
So I don't. Thank you very much. You said something the other time. I just laughed. You said caretaker. I just laughed. All right. So thank you very much, Gospel. That was a nice one. All right. So to better understand diagnosis and solve, right? Diagnosis and solve is going to tell you any problem that is wrong or that is going to be wrong with your resources, right? So let me use, this is a virtual machine and this is diagnosis and solve, right? Let's wait till it opens. But it's going to tell you what might be wrong, how to resolve it, and also probably run some one or two things, and it will help you resolve it. You see, you cannot connect to your VM, your virtual machine performance, maybe that virtual machine is performing slow, or it suddenly stops and is not working. So these are the things you just need to do. Just click on troubleshoot, just like you said, just the way you have it in your Windows system, where you just click troubleshoot and it helps you find the latest driver of a particular resources that you want, right? So that's what these guys this diagnosis and solve is talking about, right? So I want to believe everybody understands that. All right, so going to the cost analysis, right? Going through the cost analysis, we have like the actual cost. This is the amount that you've spent. The forecasted cost. This is the amount that it's telling you that at September 14th, you will be spending 115, right? But sometimes it's always this forecasted cost is always a liar. You might spend more than that. You might not spend up to that, depending on how you're measuring. Probably now, as at now, I have 93, right? Currently, I have 93. So if I come to this guy and I stop this virtual machine, it's currently running. It's consuming money it is running on. So if I stop it now, it's going to reduce the cost, and I might not even spend up to that one. So it's going to spend up to. It's not going to spend up to that if I stop that virtual machine or delete one or two things, right? So that's that. This is just like a graph, right? You can change this guy to look to um to daily, right? It's going to show you how much you're spending daily. Daily cost is 3 naira. July 17. I spent I said 3 naira, $3. You see that it's not consistent. At the point it came down 3.66, and at this point it was consistent, right? Right. So I think what happened at that time. Okay, so we'll check what happened at that time, right? So now we have a graph group by, right? We can say we want a table, right? So we want a table, and I've changed the granularity to daily, right? It's going to give you from, no, not from here, from what? Okay, so this is it. It's supposed to order it now. Okay, so it's supposed to order it anyways. So it's going to tell you that, okay, this is the amount you're spending daily, 3 naira, three, what am I saying, 3 naira? $3 and thereabouts. You always check the consistency, and this will help you to drill down to which resources is consuming, what is it called? I think, okay, now it has increased. It has, what have you, it has ordered the date now, 15, 16, 17, 18, right? So, sorry, right? So it can help you to drill down to which resources is consuming what and which one is consuming what, right? None. Then come back to column group by. All right, so let's come to this guy. All right, so let's come to this guy. So you've seen service name, right? The kind of thing that is consuming money, storage. Those are the services that we have in Azure. Storage. Am I spending $49 on storage? Okay, okay, I'm coming. Okay, so storage is $49.12. App service is 15. Load balancer is 14, right? So this is how you see the resources, right? But the services rather. But if you want to check the resources, I don't need this column that is saying location, that this is the money I'm spending on a particular location. No, I don't need it. So I just change this location to, let me see the resources itself, right? So now this guy, this guy is consuming 31. Are you serious? So he's consuming $31 a month. Oh. So you come here, okay, you see, look at the name, right? He's consuming this dev underscore OSDX 1BF5 1FA. So this is this. This is his, yeah. So why is this guy consuming a lot of money? Okay, for 502 gigabytes. All right, I think I increased it at some point. That was why the money increased as such. All right, so I'm because of my own. So one thing about it, let me just chip in, right? One thing about Dix is that once you increase it, you cannot bring it down again. Oh. This is the Dix that is attached to this virtual machine. This virtual machine is like the big, I won't say the beginning of my career, but everything that I know is inside this virtual machine, so I cannot destroy it, right? So this virtual machine now is where I do most of my resources. I have a lot of courses that they are 15 gig. One course that is 15 gig, 100 and something
Sorry,
gig.
can I ask a question?
Shoot, please.
Okay, so you said something about when you increase the size of its disk size that you can't shrink it.
Yes, this is. Let me show you now. I won't show you because I
Yeah,
don't have
okay.
more
I
than.
just want to ask a question to that regards. So we all know that there's what we call scalability, where you have to scale up to and scale down, scale out. So does that
Okay.
not apply to this?
It does not. This Microsoft is this. No, the thing is, the reason why Dix is like that, right, is because now you have 512 gigabytes of Dix, right? Of the normal size of an OS Dix when you deploy a virtual machine is 125, which is this 128, which is this 128 here, right? But because I was the heavy user, you don't know the speed of these virtual machines. This virtual machine is going to give you about 200 MB per second. So you can download 15 gig in 1 minute. So at that time, I was just downloading. I used up this whole space. I had to increase it, right? So why did they? Is it that they did not allow you to be able to scale your disks? It's because now I have downloaded a lot of things that is almost
Please,
500.
I'm sorry to cut you off again. Sorry.
Okay.
You said you downloaded something that the virtual machine can actually give you 200 megabytes per second. Okay, what I want to understand is, considering the network situation in this country, does that not affect your
No, it
download?
doesn't. I understand what you're saying.
Okay,
This is not your server. This is Microsoft server. You're just connecting to it.
okay.
You know they have their servers that I show you their data center now, right?
Yes, you did.
So when you provision it, you're provisioning a space in their data center, which is for you, and you're paying for it, right?
Okay.
So
Yes,
there's a lot of times that I don't travel with my system, right? About 2 or 3 years ago, I don't travel with my system. I know that everything I need is inside this virtual machine. So I remember those times I go to MJ's or Disco, I go to his house and I don't carry my system. The only thing I do is just give me a laptop, let me connect to my system. So since I know the IP on my head, I just connect to it. Do you understand? So
yes.
it's available publicly. So back to the first question, right? Somebody dropped something on the chat. Let me see. So back to the first question. Where you said it's supposed to scale up or scale down, right? So now I have increased this guy to 512. I have downloaded a team of 500. How will it be able to scale down when it's already have a capacity of 500? Where will it keep all those things that I have downloaded? There's no place it will keep it. It can't shrink it. So
Okay.
that's why you don't have that capacity to scale down a Dix. Did you get?
Yeah, okay, yes, I understand. I understand. Unless then you decide to take out some of those, like delete some things from your.
It won't. Even if you try it, it would not. Right? So let me see. Did you see that? Okay. See 512. It told me resize, right?
Yes.
Resize. This is 1 terabyte. Yeah. This is 1 terabyte. It
Yes.
resize. But if I come to 256, I can't resize.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
Did you get now? So that's just it about the deeds, right? There's no how you want to. The only way you can do it, right? It's not even possible. I think I've tried it. What I did is, it came here. Yes, leave it. I came here, created a snapshot from it, right? so that I'll be able to create a new virtual machine from that snapshot. But it did not allow me because it was too heavy, right? What I had inside is too much, right? So that's another thing for another day anyways. So now you see this guy again, you see all the resources because I changed this place to resource. So you see all the resources that is consuming money and you can scale out appropriately, but you can't scale out this guy, right? You can't scale out this money for your IP, right? This is the public IP. You can't do anything. This is what they this is what you pay for a public IP monthly, $2.12 every month, right? So this is a website, $7. This is Kubernetes load balancer 14, and this is an agent pool, right? I don't want to explain that one now, so you don't get it mixed up, but we'll get there when we start when we start into DevOps in general. So that is how you do the resources, and you see our personal resource group is taking $55. This MC personal QA, this is where Kubernetes resources are deployed, is taking 36. So I'm not surprised. This place is a storage account. It's a storage account that is there. So I'm not surprised too. All right, and this guy too is also a storage account. So those are the things that how you can look for resources and how you can what's it called, and how you can reduce cost in your environment, right? So cost alert. Cost alert is where, okay, what I can do is I create an alert and tell them that, oh, I want to add the budget. That my budget monthly, it is out of 150, my budget monthly is 110. So anytime I have exceeded 110, it should send me an alert. So it's showing you that last month you spent 215. Maximum in the past 7 months is 249. So this time, the reason why I was able to spend 249. Okay, so this guy, the reason why I was able to spend 249 was because I gave somebody a permission, a owner permission. The person went to deploy a firewall, and firewall is expensive, right? So the person deployed the firewall and did not tell me, right? And after the person deployed the firewall, the subscription got the money got finished and the subscription got suspended, and I will have to wait till the next billing month. So as I was waiting, the money keeps growing, keeps growing, keeps growing, because the resource is still there, but I can't just access it or delete it because my subscription has been suspended, right? So if you're working in that kind of environment, your subscription will be suspended, or you have an environment where your money got finished, or you are using a subscription like mine and they gave you $150 or $200, and the money got finished, right? So what it will happen is you won't be able to access, you'll just be able to look at your owner role will turn to reader role, right? You'll just be able to look at them, you won't be able to carry out any operation at all. Do you understand? So that's that. So this is what it to do. So the budget, I just said the budget here, that anytime I have 110, that she send me an alert. So I don't need that. So that's that. And cost alert, and this is budget also. This is where you see the list of budget that you have created where when you come to cost alert. So advisor recommendations, this always pop-ups anytime you log in into Azure. It will tell you that you need to do one or two things. You need to, so it's successfully refresh recommendation, no active recommendation. So, but you can see list of cost recommendation, right? So you can also check this thing to see the list of cost recommendation, how to reduce cost, right? You can also check it and click it out. Invoice, this is for invoice external service payment method, and for people that are using pay pay as you go, right? But I'm not using pay as you go, I'm using my subscription, right? You can see all the resources that you have in that resource group, right? These are the resources in that subscription, rather. You can see all the resources also in this place. So uses and quota. This one is, it will tell you that this is the number of things you can provision in this subscription. But if you are using a pay as you go, you have unlimited. You don't need this. Policy, right? Let me see. This is where, when I started this call, I was talking about policy, setting a policy from the management group or from the subscription. Or this morning, when we were having the call also, I was explaining that you can set a policy that anybody that wants to create any resources and the person is not deploying in West Europe, you should not allow the person to deploy that resources, right? So this will help you. You will have it non-compliant. You will have a lot of things. They will tell you, maybe the person did a workaround and managed to deploy it. It will flag the person as a non-compliant thing, and the security people can go and take it out, right? So we also have, let's say, another policy where you say, okay, if anybody wants to deploy anything and does not add a tag, bounce the person back. Do you understand? So those are the things that you can create a policy for. This is what we call policy. This is where you check the compliance. This is where you create an initiative and assign a policy, right? Policy is subscription based, and also deployment, you don't need that. Properties, you don't need that too. So you don't need to adjust a list of properties that I've already showed you. Resource provider, you don't really need this anyway for now. Resource provider, you don't need this as such. All right, so let me, this one, okay, I think you need this one, though. It's very important. All right, so maybe you want to provision something and you are getting error that you don't have access to provision that thing. You either check three things: your permission, check if you have the right permission to provision that thing. Number two, check if there's a policy on that subscription that says probably you are not adding something, or you are adding something that you're not supposed to add. That's two. And number three, check if that thing is available here, right? I have some resources that has not been registered, right? Look at it, Dell storage. I did not register. Sorry about that. There's nothing I want to use it to do. Microsoft AAD, I don't need it right now. All these Microsoft any build API security, I don't need it, right? Which one is this? Microsoft billing. Everybody needs Microsoft billing, right? So anything you need, you can just click on it, um, register it. If you have the permission to register it, it will register. If you don't have the permission, it will not allow you to register it. So that is that about subscription and how it works. Does anybody have any questions? We're about to move to another thing entirely. Does anybody ask questions? So so it won't look like I've been talking to myself all day. Do you guys understand everything that I've been saying?
Yeah, to some extent, we are.
To some extent, the other extent that you do not understand, let me hear. All right,
Can you hear
so
me?
yes.
All right.
Yes, I can hear
When
you.
you mentioned about the scalability, I want to ask, I know it's out of this topic, but is it possible that other cloud providers can allow you to scale your disk?
I've not tried it, but I don't think it's, if they can, right? It will be a loose end for Microsoft, right? And they will also will make sure that they do that. I don't think it's possible. I don't have all my subscription in AWS has been revoked because I'm owing them a lot of money, right? I will have just shown you, right? But I'll try to create another one this week so that next week we'll just do one or two things about AWS, show you the differences, then 1 or 2 things, sure. Right? But I don't think it's possible.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So any other questions you want to? I need to switch to another system so that I'll be able to show you what I want to show you. Right? Before we go back, before we move away from here, please can you do it? You say what? We've talked about a lot of things in the last 1 hour. I can't do a recap, but this one is more too. Okay, you know what, Ayomide? The recording is going to be dropped, right? And you can watch it all over again. Do you get? So I think that will help instead of me doing a recap.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
that's
Okay,
good.
sir.
Instead of the recap. Yes. The
Okay,
record
please,
will
can
be
I
okay.
ask a question?
Please go ahead, Gospel.
Okay, so I know that we have virtual disk, and then we have the disk, the hard disk that one can just carry about. So you mentioned that there were times you just go out without going with your laptop, and all you need to do is just plug in your IP on a laptop, and you'll be able to access your all the information on your disk. So I want to ask, is it possible that in the course of this class we would be able to see how you access your disk from probably another laptop that is just different, just how
No,
you
no, no,
plug
no,
it
no,
in?
no. The thing is, let me show you something, right? Let me show
Okay.
you that my virtual machine gone, gone, gone. Right. Right. So the thing is, the disk is attached to the virtual machine, right? So you can. It's just like if the disk that is attached to your system, right? You can't take it. Okay, let me give you. Maybe now
Okay,
you give
I
me.
actually understand that. What I'm saying is,
Uh-huh.
you said you downloaded some things inside the disk.
Okay.
So what I
Okay.
want to know is, how can you access those things you downloaded in the disk?
I can access it now. Okay, maybe access it from there into my local system, Abi.
Yes, yes. So that I
Okay,
don't know if
you
you
can.
downloaded maybe some of the tutorials you downloaded, like
Ah, so the thing is, I get what you're trying to say, right? You can
okay,
move it, but it's not advisable for you to move something as much as 15 gig. That's when it will start consuming your own data. So it's even better than downloading it from yourself afresh than moving it. Do you understand? At that point,
yes,
at which you're
yes, I
moving it,
understand.
you are not consuming your own data, right? But if you're not downloading it in that system, right? If you're downloading it in that system, you're not consuming your data, you're not doing anything. You're using this network in that environment, right? Let me start it. It takes a while because there are a lot of things inside. So I'll start it and I'll show you also, right? So any other questions?
Okay, since we are actually going to do virtual machine, why not probably when we are doing that we can look at this.
I think it's my network. Hello, Gospel, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think it's my
I cannot
network.
hear you.
Did you guys hear Gospel or I'm the one that didn't hear him?
You can hear God's power also.
Both of
Oh,
you are
sorry, Gospel.
audible.
I think it was my network.
Okay.
Can you ask a question again?
Okay. So what I was saying is, you said you wanted to go over how you can access your files from your disk. So what I was suggesting is, since you are still going to go through virtual machine, um, why not probably just hold on. When we get to that, we'll be able to have a very good
Yeah, sure.
understanding of. Yes, thank you.
All right, so let me share the other screen now so that we'll be able to want to move to the second part. This one we'll just talk about it briefly, right? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. All right. So, the second part that I told you we wanted to talk about is the virtual machine. We've talked about the virtual network. We need to talk about the virtual machine, right? So everybody knows this is the virtual machine. I know this is not a virtual machine. This is my laptop, right? This is my laptop, and this is Windows 10. So when I was talking about this virtual machine that I was about virtual machine a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Ubuntu, we talked about the CentOS, we talked about um the Ubuntu, the CentOS, the Windows servers. So Windows servers is quite different from Windows system, right? Windows servers is quite different from Windows 10, right? So this now the first thing I will show you is the Ubuntu machine. So this is the Ubuntu machine, right? So let me log in. So this is the Ubuntu machine. This is how Ubuntu machine looks like. Johnny? All right, so this is how the Ubuntu machine looks like, right? Go to the room. All right, so this is an Ubuntu machine, right? And in most cases, we don't, most people, it's only the system administrator that allows you to see this, right? But this is an Ubuntu machine. When we are talking about Linux, the feel about Linux is the terminal, not the UI. I intentionally want to show you this UI so that you know how Ubuntu looks like, right? So this is an Ubuntu machine, and mostly I don't really use the UI. Everything I want to use is the Linux. So now, the Linux environment. So to check everything in my home directory, I just do list like this, right? So this shows me everything in my home directory. So for you to be sure, let me show you. Look at this. You see the desktop, right? You see this desktop here. This is the desktop here. Document, this is it here, right? Download, this is it here. Anything that has, even if you check your system, anything that has dot, and the name of the file, it's an hidden file. Do you understand? Go to your system, click on any file folder and click on show hidden file. You will see that some hidden file will come out because it is having dot at the front before the name of the file. If I change this desktop or down document to dot document, it's going to turn it to an hidden file. Do you understand? This is the downloaded installer, right? You see that this is it here, right? So this is my directory. If I want to move into any folder, I just do cd documents, right? It's going to move into that folder, and I can list it and check what is inside. I can go back one step to go back to my home. Or if I'm away from home, maybe I've entered into different directory, I can just do cd and this. That key that is in front of number one and on tab key. So it's going to give you that sign and it's going to take me back home, right? So if you want to open a file, right? Let's say let me create a file. Let me see. Okay, make a directory. Let me want to make a directory now. Make directory bootcamp, right? Make a directory. If you list it, right? You see I've created a directory called bootcamp. This is it. Can you see? This is a directory called bootcamp, right? And I can go inside that bootcamp and I say bootcamp. I can create a file called text dot or a text.txt, right? So this is text.txt. If you come here, right, you see that the bootcamp is already showing here, right? Open it, you see text.txt. Come back. So if you open this text.txt, you see that there's nothing inside. You see? So let's go back and do some magic. Not really magic, it's just normal thing. So if you want to open any file this time around, I'm not saying a folder. So you can just do nano text.txt. So you can say this is a text case for my test file. We are just using this to test. Okay, so this is it. And when you want to save it, because you are using nano, right? The only way you can use to save it is Control O. It tells you what do you want to change the name of the file to. You want to leave it as it is. You press Enter and you do Control X. So now let's go back to that folder, right? These are text.txt. So open it, you see that it's already there, text. This is the test case for my file, and blah, 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 blah. So we have it like that, right? So now, probably let's clear it, the terminal. Probably you want to check anything. You want to check what is consuming CPU. You know, in this is I'm back in my Windows environment. You know, you can do Control Shift. I mean, Control Shift Escape. You see everything that is consuming memory here all this time. Tax Manager, yes. You know our Tax Manager now, right? Everybody use Tax Manager to stop a lot of things and the likes. So how do you do that in command environment? Use that. How do you do that in Linux environment, Ubuntu this time around? You can do htobs, right? This is the htop, you see it, and you can look for the PID, and that PID will help you delete it, or kill the what's it called? Kill the process, right? Don't look at this thing as a magical, it's just normal thing that is running underground. It's just the same thing like this tax manager that I opened here, just that this one is different, right? If peradventure H tops is not working, you can just do tops. Tops is for locum. H tops, you need to install it. Tops is going to show you this, right? But you won't be able to kill anything. You won't be able to just see your memory usage, your CPU usage, what is running, how many processes is sleeping, which process is stopped, and your free usage, your storage usage, and the like, right? Available memory, this is it also. So you see that, and you use Q to close out of it, clear it away. So those are the things you need to do, and a lot to come, right? Like now, this is test, right? Oh, sorry. This is text.txt. You know, you want to let me open this file. You know, this image now, this is an image now, and you want to duplicate it. You now have to do copy, copy again, and change the name and the likes, right? And paste it again. It's going to copy. So here you can just do cp text.txt. What do you want to change it to? Change it to case dot, or copy it to text.txt, right? It has copied. You see that the two files are there, right? Go back to your files folder. You see that this folder is already there. Open it. The same thing that is inside text is inside this because you copied it, right? Now, if you want to move it to your home directory, you know we are inside bootcamp. You can just do move, right? And say but let not move it. Let's just copy it, right? Cp copy test file test.txt, copy it to where let's see, home directory. Let's do the right? You don't have permission to do that. All right, so let's do right? Dash dash O, right? So dash dash back means one step backward. You get dash dash star means you want to copy it inside the folder that is one step backward. Right? Let me show you an example. Let's see if we have this. Okay, now look at this. So that means I want to move this guy to this document file because it is one step backward, right? So let's go back one step backward. Using capital letter. See the back one step backward, list it. You see that txt.text is there. Text.text. So that's how we do in Ubuntu, right? So these are just Ubuntu. I can't be teaching you everything, right? Those are just to show you that these are the ways you need to work with it. You know, like this one that says permission denied is because I just use ordinary CP. You can just do, let me see. Let me do it again. Let me copy case this time around. And it's saying, is it this one? The one that gave error. Okay, this is it. So the one that gave error and say case is saying, is this not case? Case.txt. Is that not the spelling? Case now. Yeah, case.txt. Oh, sorry, I'm not inside the bootcamp. It's not there. All right, so this is case, right? Let me copy the command again, case.txt. So you're saying permission denied. You just say, okay, since permission is denied, you can use sudo, right? Bang, bang. Right, it's going to ask you for your password. Put your password. It has copied it, you see? So let's go back one step and check if we see case there. Not there, where did he now copy it to? Locate case.txt. Okay. This is when you want to look for something, right? You don't know where the directory is. But this time is always very hard. It can give you a lot of things, case.txt. So it says I don't have locate installed. So I need to install it. So install, instead of you going to the browser and like Windows and start looking for the stuff, it's going to tell you that you should install it, right? Install it. I don't know how long it can take. Depends on what you're installing. So let's see. So these are the things. You see that when I want to install, it's saying I should use apps, right? But in other Linux distribution, I might not be using apt rather, not apps. Apt, I might not be using apt. I might be using another thing. Red Hat, I think Red Hat is quite different. Yum is definitely different. I mean, I sorry, CentOS is different. CentOS is also a distribution of Linux, a distro of Linux. Ubuntu is a distro of Linux. CentOS is a distro of Linux. Red Hat is a distro of Linux, and we have so many others. Kali Linux is also a distro of Kali. Yeah, Kali Linux is also a distro of Linux itself, right? So it's trying to initiate and install it, right? So what is installed? I'm going to locate what we have. So in most cases, when you run a command and it's telling you that, oh, that thing is not installed, it's going to give you the command to install that stuff, and you can use it to run the command you want, right? I think it's almost done. No, okay, so let me now run locate text. So it's saying that it's inside here. So that means it did not copy that file. So it's saying that locate is inside home. This is my username. This is the folder, right? And this is the what I'm looking for, right? So we have things like that. We have work like this is just Ubuntu. This is how to work with Ubuntu, right? So this is Ubuntu, and now this is CentOS, right? Amazing. Hope you guys are seeing my screen. Let me say I'm saying what's not.
Yes,
Yes,
but
we can
mine,
see
I'm
you.
still seeing
We dey
the
see.
Ubuntu. I think it's slow. Maybe this
You're still
network
seeing
from my
what?
own end.
You're still
We
seeing
are
what?
seeing you, sir.
No, somebody said he's still seeing something.
Yes, it's
All
Samuel.
right.
Samuel Susan.
All right, so Samuel. Okay, so Samuel, this is CentOS, right? Are you seeing the CentOS now?
No, no, I'm still seeing the
Yeah, it's
Ubuntu.
coming up
That's
now.
all. I don't know. Maybe it's because of network.
It's your network, oh, that's it.
It's your network.
Everybody, can
So
other people confirm they can see CentOS?
I can see CentOS.
Yeah,
All
I
I
right,
can
can
see
see
cool.
as
CentOS.
well.
CentOS is what is
All right,
displaying.
so this is yes, so this is CentOS. It's different from it's different from Ubuntu. It's also a distro of Linux, and this is how it works. So the same thing. The only difference between CentOS and so I won't work much on this guy, right? So the only difference between CentOS and major difference, right, between CentOS and Ubuntu is just that when I wanted to install something, I use apt sudo apt install what I want to install in CentOS. Excuse excuse me. But this guy is different. In Ubuntu, I use apt. Let me show you this guy again. Can you guys see my Ubuntu screen?
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
So this is sudo apt install, right? But in CentOS, it's quite different. You can't use apt, you use yum, right? Let me see if there's locate here. Okay, there's no locate. There's locate rather, locate case.txt. Okay, locate is already installed. Let's say Docker command not found. So I need to install Docker. Let me see. This is going to take a while, right? But I'm going to stop it. So sudo yum install docker.io. Don't worry, I already know that one. That's why I know the command to install it. It's not in a sudo. The incident will be so. Let me remove sudo then. Let me. I'm ready. You need to perform by. Okay, so this is a long journey, right? It's telling me to install it's telling to me set this guy as a sudo. That means I should be able to use sudo. It's going to be a long journey. I don't want to take that steps. But the main difference between that guy and this guy is they use yum to install, not apt, as in the case of Ubuntu, right? So what else again? I think that's majorly it. So now the next one is Windows Server, right? Amazing God, amazing God. Okay, so Windows Server is quite different from Windows OS, right? Like I explained the other time. And so this is how it looks like. So this is how it looks like, right? We install a lot of things. This is where we install our IIS, right? You can install your IIS here, your
Sorry,
Active Directory.
sorry to interrupt. Sorry to
Okay.
interrupt, please. If you are trying to install H HTOP on your VM, like on your what is it called,
Linux
Ubuntu,
VM, abi?
do you have to connect to the
Okay.
internet?
Now, your
Okay,
VM
okay,
has to have
okay,
internet now.
okay. Because I'm trying something here and I'm saying unattended upgrade.
Oh, okay. Unattended upgrade. That means you need to run sudo updates, right? Sudo apt updates first before you run anything. It's been long you run update that apt. You need to update
Okay.
it or probably upgrade it. Then you now run that command you want to run. But it's been long you run that. That's why it's giving
So
you that error.
how do I abort this now? Because it's still reading for about 147 seconds.
Use Control C to abort it. There about you can do
Oh,
that.
okay. Okay. I
All
think
right.
that is.
So
Thanks.
All right, so this is Windows servers. It's quite different from Windows system. This one, you can turn it to an IIS, you can turn it to an Active Directory, you can turn it to a web server, which is the IIS that I mentioned anyways. So this is Windows servers. There's nothing much. It's not the same thing. It's all about usage and what you want to install on it. Like you see, let me tell you how I got here. Right, I clicked on this server management comes up immediately you start up a Windows server, any Windows server. So how you come here is click on tools, no, this guy, click on add rules and features, and then this come up. Then you start installing, you click on role-based feature installation. Then you start clicking on next. Then you start clicking on whatever thing you want to install. This is an IIS, you can install this one. That means it's going to install 19 of 43 installments, right? So if you want to turn it to a Active Directory, you want to turn it to a network controller, anything you want to turn it to, right? You can install it here. Windows, this is 2016 thereabout. Yeah, this is 2016. Windows Server 2016. So we have a lot of features you can turn it to. You can set up anything on it, but mostly it's always used for Active Directory and web servers, right? So by the virtue of this, exposing you guys to this environment, I have been able to explain this difference between all these servers that are prominently used in organization to set up their infrastructure and also deployment, app deployment. With that, I've been able to come to the end of today's teaching. Does anybody have any question?
Okay, I have one question.
Okay.
You mentioned Linux distro, and you mentioned Ubuntu and CentOS. I'm aware
Okay.
that there's other distro. But what regarding this DevOps, which one do you think is the best for us to use?
Okay, so for DevOps, mostly is always Ubuntu because most of your pipelines are always using like Ubuntu 18 and Ubuntu 20 to run pipelines, right? So mostly it's always Ubuntu. Yeah, I've hardly seen any pipeline that is running with that would run its pipeline with CentOS. It's either they run it with this guy Ubuntu or Windows pipeline or Mac OS if they are running an iOS application. Do you get? So it's mainly Ubuntu. Do you get? But if you're talking about cyber security, yes, networking and cyber security, mainly networking. When I mean networking, I mean deep networking, that has to do with cyber security. There or cyber security as the standalone, then you'll be talking about Kali Linux, Red Hat, and the likes.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions, please? Does anybody have any questions, please? All right, guys. Since nobody is having any question, in the absence of questions, we'll be calling it a day. See you guys. Okay. Tomorrow, I don't know how it's going to look like, but either 6 or 7 or anyhow, because I'm going out tomorrow and I'm also on call. I've not received any alerts in the morning. So I'm working shift to this weekend. So I'm always available. I need to be available. So I'll try as much as possible to come back early tomorrow so that we can also start up the class. So I'll also inform if we'll be starting 7 or we'll still have a normal time, which is 6 p.m. All right. In the absence of any question, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much, guys. See you
Thank you very much.
tomorrow.
Too much, sir.
Thank you so much.